Hey, it's Sunday the 18th of September 2016 and I'm out on my Bonanza. The Bonanza is a Yamaha YCS1. It's a two-stroke street bike. This motorcycle was made in 1967, which makes it older than me. It used to be my brother's motorcycle. He sold it to somebody else, and I thought it was kind of cool, and I got it back. This isn't my only bike. I have two other ones that are much bigger, more powerful, and more modern. And it is a cute little thing. I'll do a little walk around and show what it looks like. But it's basically like it's a chrome tank bike in the style of the 60s. It's old. It's very old. Yeah, that's it. The biggest difference between this and a stock one is that it has lower bars. You can see the old ones were up here and they were horrible. Absolutely horrendous. So this one has the low ones. I found some bars from a vintage Triumph and I replaced them, flattened it out so that it's now a lot more comfortable just to ride around. Now, one of the things that I like about this bike is that it just runs. And you know, I've had a couple vintage bikes, and the one that I had most of my time in was a Honda CB450, and I enjoyed that bike. There was a lot that was cool about it, but at the end of the day, it didn't run. And if a motorcycle doesn't run, it is of no use. And when my brother owned this thing, he hadn't taken it home yet. It was at my house for a few months, and I would walk over and I would push the button and it just fired up. And I thought that was just the coolest thing, because if you have a bike that doesn't start, a bike that does start is incredible. This is a very old, very small motorcycle, and that's all right, you know. But it is what it is. You know, you're lucky to get, you know, 55, 60 miles an hour out of it. You know, I have an advertisement that says that these things would do, you know, 85, 90, and you know, I talked to an old-timer at the Yamaha dealership, and he just laughed. He's like, look, I took these things out of the crate. They never did 80. It's like, you know, 55 is good. I'm 5'11", probably about like 190 right now, so, you know, I'm not exactly a lightweight, and a bike like this is kind of pushing it. I know people used to ride things like this 2-up, but, you know, it's a little bike, you know, with a little motor. So if you think about it in those terms, it's okay. You know, this is like, you know, I have two other bikes, and I'm not some rich dude or anything like that. I do everything on a budget, you know, so that's one of the reasons that I like this thing, is it's cheap. But, you know, with that said, you just have to consider it for what it is. You know, this thing is like so primitive. It doesn't have disc brakes. It has drum brakes all the way around it at both ends. And it's right now it doesn't have turn signals or mirrors. And I've got some bar end mirrors coming for it, which should help. But if I want people to see me and, you know, all that, I have to use hand signals and all that horse shit, which, you know, I learned hand signals, but the thing is, you know, in the age that we live right now with, you know, your texting Barbies and all that stuff, I don't know if people know what I'm doing. It's an antique, you know. So in that respect, it works pretty well as a third bike, you know. I don't have to worry about this being my only motorcycle. But you know, it's super lightweight. It just feels fun. I think where this bike would be really good would be, you know, kind of a flowing road, like in our park, our metro park. You know, not a lot of stops. You know, kind of decent little turns. I think that's where it would be fun, because it's kind of a bitch to bring it up and down through the gears. It doesn't have a hell of a lot of power, you know, so you really have to row it to get it up to speed. I threw a little seafoam in, and I think that helped with some deposits. It just seems to be settling down. It wasn't ridden. You know, I put a battery in it. You always have to put batteries in bikes that have been sitting. And, you know, it's kind of, here it is, you know, it's, what do we got? 7,700 miles. You know, I don't think this is the bike for you if you're into finding chicks. If you're in for picking up 60-year-old dudes, by all means, this is the motorcycle for you. As you park it and people are going to be like, oh, dude, that's awesome. I had one of those, or whatever, you know. I see a lot of accidental people go out and say, you know, I found one of the 5 Yamaha Bonanzas sold in this country, and I've decided to make it my commuter bike. I know they sold more than 5, but you know, you try and find some sort of an online presence for this thing, and good fucking luck. If you like things difficult, you know, by all means, get yourself a less than 200cc 50-year-old Yamaha twin. Did I mention it's a twin? Yeah, it's a parallel twin. You know, it's auto lube, so you don't have to pre-mix it. You just put the oil in a separate container, like on the side, and there's a pump that does all that for you. So they were really on, you know, like ahead of things back then. It was cool. It's a neat little bike, you know, for what it is. You know, don't expect to tour the country on it. You know, but if you just want to have fun on something like this, you can do it. You'd just be making manual hand signals. Alright, we'll get into a crouch. Yeah, I'm in a full tuck. It's about 55 miles an hour. Maybe 60. Alright, that's enough. It's a nice little motorcycle. Let's not blow it up on a Sunday. I mean, if I want heartbreak, the Browns are playing later. A Yamaha Bonanza, a YCS1 Bonanza. I guarantee you that this will probably be the only ride report of a Yamaha YCS1 Bonanza on YouTube. So, I hope you enjoyed it. If you are buying one of these things, have a good time with it. Later.